is edited by the librarians, the ones who choose which journals burn, which letters get preserved, which great man narrative gets the gold leaf binding. Andrew Carnegie didn't donate libraries out of charity. He was installing the operating system. Every book on those shelves passed through a filter labeled, "What makes a good worker?" He wasn't giving you knowledge. He was giving you a controlled burn of approved thought. The move: stop reading history, start debugging it. The margin notes are the main text. Module 3, the Spiritual Debug Console. They told you God was in heaven, a useful abstraction, keeps the gaze upward, the hands folded. But what if the divine isn't up there, but in here, in the command line interface of your own attention? The Puritan work ethic wasn't about God. It was a spiritual malware that recompiled salvation into labor. Idle hands are the devil's workshop was the 17th century version of "you're not grinding hard enough." They made heaven a subscription service paid for in sweat. Here's the parable they skipped. The kingdom of heaven is like a man who inherited a vast estate but lived his whole life in the gardener's shed, polishing the doorknob, convinced he was earning the right to enter, never realizing the deed was in his pocket the whole time. The key wasn't to earn. It was to stop polishing and start possessing. The move: your consciousness isn't a chapel to visit on Sundays. It's the server room. Stop praying. Start entering commands. Module 4, Linguistic Alchemy. The Founding Fathers didn't just write a constitution, they performed a linguistic coup. "All men are created equal" was a spell so potent it rendered the actual inequality of the era into a frustrating, invisible bug in the system, a problem for future patches that we're still downloading. They gave you a vocabulary of freedom while building the architecture of control. The magic trick? You're so busy celebrating the words you don't notice the walls they built between the lines. Henry Ford didn't perfect the assembly line. He perfected human syntax. He reconfigured the sentence of a human life from "I am a craftsman" to "I am a station." He changed the verb of being from create to repeat. The move: don't use their dictionary, write your own. Redefine the base terms. Work is energy exchange. Debt is temporal theft. News is reality's comment section. Module 5, the 2025 Reveal Without Predicting. The elite universities are teaching defensive chess, how to protect the king, how to hold the board. But the next 18 months aren't about the board. They're about the table the board sits on, and the room. And the fact that games are optional. Something is coming to this channel. Not a trend, not a viral moment, an alignment. A convergence of people who felt the script was wrong, but couldn't find the playwright. They will arrive not as an audience, but as a congregation of debuggers. They will speak in the new tongue of ontological refactoring. They will recognize each other by the glitch in their smile, the one that says, "I am no longer rendering your reality." Society will respond in two waves. First, mockery, the immune response of a dying narrative. Then imitation, the flattery of a paradigm surrendering. The corrupt mindset will hear this and scream, "Cynicism," because to the ego, a mirror is an insult. The believer will hear this and whisper, "Revelation," because to the spirit, a key is a prayer. The final instruction: they told you to study the great men. I say, study their blind spots. What Washington couldn't see from Mount Vernon. What Rockefeller couldn't extract from the earth. What Ford couldn't automate. That invisible residue? That's your territory. The uncharted land isn't across an ocean. It's in the perceptual fissures between their monuments. Your $300,000 degree taught you to admire the castle. This is the manual for the siege engine, and the drawbridge is already down. They just told you it was a decoration. The lecture is over. The exam is your life, and you just found the cheat sheet in the palm of your own hand. The most elite school is the one that never needs to advertise.